is slowly returning to the roads after a few compliant PSV operators resumed operations on day 2 of the enforcement of the Michuki rules. But a big chunk of matatus that have not complied with the regulations kept off the roads. Commuters along some routes were happy that fares too had gone down compared to the first day of the crackdown.
It was a sigh of relief for many commuters as the transport crisis eased on day 2 as business got back to normal. The effects of the renewed zeal by authorities to reinforce the famous Michuki rules having been felt in most, if not all, parts of the country since Monday. However, things were different for those who found themselves on the wrong side of the law. Most of them, matatu and boda operators, were arraigned in court to answer to charges. It was a field day for the prosecution across the country. Most suspects convicted pleaded guilty to their offences, hence making the conclusion of their cases faster. In Nairobi alone, more than 200 offenders were prosecuted and their cases concluded at the Milimani Law Courts.
The court has considered the accused is a first offender. He has pleaded guilty. He is remorseful. He is hereby sentenced to a fine of 5,000 shillings, in default 2 months imprisonment. Right of appeal 14 days.
Offenders here included mostly drivers, passengers, boda operators and touts. At the Thika Law Courts, at least 80 suspects were arraigned and prosecuted, while in Nyeri, 188 offenders were prosecuted. The most common offences being driving without a valid driving license, driving a PSV without a badge, driving uninsured motorcycles, and failure by passengers to fasten their safety belts. Most of these offences attracting a fine of not less than 10,000 shillings or 4 months imprisonment or both. The police, in conjunction with NTSA officials, intensified their crackdown on roads that saw many offenders continue to be nabbed Tuesday across the country. Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i and his transport counterpart James Macharia, together with the Inspector General of Police Joseph Boynet, have warned matatu operators that non-compliance to the new traffic rules would not be tolerated and that the rules were here to stay until sanity was restored on the Kenyan roads.
If, as an operator, you do not have A, B, C, D, then your vehicle will not be on the road. Or if you are a driver with a vehicle which did not comply, then you'll be arrested. If you are a driver not complying with what you're required to do in terms of, say, uniforms and all those things, you have to be arrested. If you are the owner of a vehicle which causes a problem, you are the principal in that employment contract with the driver. And so you have to be accountable.
The events in the courts across the country today is a clear indication that indeed there is a multi-sectoral commitment from all arms of government in a bid to restore sanity on the roads. Ibrahim Karanja, KTN News.